What's up, guys? Glenn Cunningham, team leader here in Little Rock, Arkansas at Keller Williams Realty. Look, you guys have questions, I've got some answers, so let's get into this stuff here. Are KW training programs and events costly? Well, first of all, everything we do here is totally free. We don't charge anything for our in-house training. They're all taught by our mega agents here in Little Rock and here across the state. But none of that costs anything whatsoever. Now, we do a couple events across the country that you're more than welcome to come to. None of them are mandatory. We don't expect you to come to them. We have one that's usually it's in Las Vegas, or it's in Orlando, or it's in LA. It's usually in February. It's called Family Reunion. Of course, that costs money to get on a plane and go to an event and have a hotel and all sorts of things like that. But again, not mandatory. We have another one in August, usually in Austin, Texas, called Mega Agent Camp. Highly recommend that one. But again, that costs money, but you don't have to do it. Thirdly, we have a huge training event that kicks off usually in October. It's actually happening this year in September. It's called BOLD. It stands for Business Objective Life by Design. And that program does cost money. We fly a coach in. Our coach this year is in North Carolina. He's going to fly in once a week for 6 weeks. It's a one-day event every single week for 6 weeks. And there is a cost for that, but everything else is totally free in our world. Do you have to be on a team to succeed at Keller Williams? Short answer is no. Depending on who you are and your production level and what you need, my answer to that might change. But no, you don't have to be on a team at all. Is it a great option? Of course. I highly recommend that people do join a team, especially if they're a newer agent and you don't have systems in place, you don't have a steady flow of business coming in, you don't know where your business is going to come from, and you may be struggling. Yes, I think joining a team is a fantastic option. Do you have to do it? Absolutely not. But I would always recommend you interview with teams and see if that cultural fit might be a good fit for you. Being on a team is totally different than being a solo agent. You know, a solo agent, everybody knows this. As a realtor, you're a 1099 contractor. No one is going to call you at 8 o'clock in the morning and get you out of bed and tell you to go to work. You run your own venture. On a team, it's a totally different vibe and a totally different feel because there are expectations, because they're paying for your marketing, or they're paying for your renewals, they're paying for your board fees or whatever else that they may be paying for. They're paying for leads. So there may be an expectation that you come to the office every single day. Some teams do that, some teams don't. Some teams require you to hold X amount of open houses every single month, some teams don't. They're all different and they all have different expectations. So always recommend that you interview with teams to see if it might be a good fit, but it's never mandatory. If you wanted to go the solo agent route here at Keller Williams, we have something pretty unique set up that most brokerages don't. We have a launch coaching program. So every one of our new agents gets assigned a one-on-one coach here. It doesn't cost them a dime. That coach is with them every step of the way for their first 3 transactions. They meet with this coach at least once a month, if not multiple times a month. It's really your prerogative. You meet with them as much as you see fit. But they released to them a 30, 60, 90. So what we know is that when someone gets into real estate, there's a lot of noise out there. There's so many things to learn, and most of our new agents are like, what's most important? And so what we've done is we've tried to take the guesswork out of what's important in real estate. And so this 30, 60, 90 that these coaches release to you says, just do these 10 or 12 things in your first 30 days. Check these boxes. And then you meet with your coach about what you might be struggling with in the next 60 days and the next 90 days. And so ultimately what we've done is we've created a runway to launch your real estate business and take the guesswork out of it. All right, this is a good one. Is Keller Williams a pyramid scheme? I get asked this one. Short answer, no, certainly not. We don't operate any differently than any other brokerage out there. We all have a principal broker. We pay in splits and company dollar the same way that everyone does. Usually when I get this question, people are asking about profit share, and that is something that is very unique to the Keller Williams world. And so the way that most brokerages work is you pay in your company dollar split when you close a deal, and you never see any piece of that ever again. It goes to the broker, it goes to the owners, it goes to all the places that it goes to. In the KW world, we actually share our profits back. And so when people hear profit share, they think that they earn a commission or a profit, and they share that with someone or some entity, and that's actually the opposite of what happens. In a nutshell, what happens is every single month, we pay all of our bills out of the splits that we have come in, and then what's left over is profit. And instead of 100% of that profit staying with the owners and the investment group, we actually take about 50% of that profit and we keep that as a dividend, because that's why you run a business. And the other 50% of that profit actually gets redistributed back out to our agents on a monthly basis. So it's kind of cool that we all get free money on the 21st of every month. That's how that works. Is Keller Williams more about training than real estate? When I read that question, it kind of confused me because I think it's one and the same. So if you look at Keller Williams, like across the country, we're literally number one in every metric if you Google this, right? Like we take the most listings, we have the most transactions, we have the highest commissions paid to our agents, we have the shortest amount of time on market, days on market. And I don't think the real estate, when I see that, what that says to me is like the production in real estate. You wouldn't have that level of production if you didn't have a heavy look at training. And I think because we put a high emphasis on the training is why we do so well in real estate. So I don't think that we're more about one than the other. I don't think you can have one without the other. But I also think anytime you find high productivity happening somewhere, that doesn't happen on accident. I think you have to have a solid training program to fuel that. And then you bring in the right people that actually implement the things that we teach, and then you get the best of both worlds. And so when I read that, that would be my answer there. Does Keller Williams focus more on recruiting than real estate? I would say it's a mix of both, to be honest. I think every company wants to grow. When I see the word recruiting, I think a lot of people take it the wrong way. Let's be clear, like we recruit agents here every single year. We've had 100 agents join our brokerage this year, and it's only September. We've had 100 people join us. And I think we've had 100 people join us not because we're focused on recruiting or that we're good at recruiting. It's because we provide a culture of growth and we provide a culture of training, and that attracts a lot of people to us. So no, I think it's a byproduct. I think the fact that we are so focused on our agents and the success of our agents and how we train our agents that recruiting becomes easy. And when I say the word recruit, like I don't even like that word. Like I don't recruit anybody. I'm not out to recruit anybody. Because some people just aren't a good fit for our culture. Some people are a fantastic fit for our culture. Some people don't fit in well with us and some people do. But recruiting to me is really more about just finding a good fit for somebody and helping, solve a problem that they may be having. Are you required to work at the office 9 to 5 at Keller Williams? No. In fact, no one that I know does. As you guys know, all realtors are 1099 contractors. We can't require you to do anything. There's certainly no mandate or expectation that you guys show up at 9 in the morning and make calls until 5 o'clock. That doesn't make sense at all. Almost no one that I do works 9 to 5 in their real estate business. So we certainly don't require that. Is Keller Williams too large of a company for me to be prioritized? I think this is probably the number one question I get. If I'm being as honest as I can be, I don't get this question a lot from new agents. I get this question a lot from high achieving mega agents, okay? New agents come to us because they know they need training. They know that they're gonna have to get off the ground pretty quickly. They know that we provide coaching and some of the best training out there. And so like that just happens. But when I'm talking to a mega agent here in our market, I can only give you an example here really. Like we had an agent join us that does $12 million a year. And he came in and he said he interviewed with Keller Williams years and years ago, and he ended up not coming to Keller Williams because he didn't want to feel like a number. And that's what I thought about when I read this. And he eventually came to us because he felt like he had hit a glass ceiling and he didn't know how to break through it. And so when he got in, I sat down with him and I said, so what changed? I said, you interviewed with us years and years ago. All of a sudden you want to be a part of this over here. What happened? And of course, this is after he'd been with us for 6, 8, 10 months. And he looked at me and he goes, Glenn, I'll tell you, he goes, I didn't come to Keller Williams years ago because I felt like I was going to be a number. So I went with a smaller brokerage that had 12 agents. And he said, I thought that I would be more taken care of because it was only 12 agents. He goes, I thought I would get more quality time with a principal broker and I'd get more face time with people that knew what they were doing because there were less agents. And he said, I'll tell you without a doubt, he goes, I feel more like a family here and more taken care of and supported here with 300 agents than I ever did with 12. And I was blown away when he told me that story. So the reason why I think he feels that way too, and the second part of this is the things that we provide are just different, right? Something we do that I don't think any other brokerage does is we provide a lot of masterminds. And what we'll do is we'll break agents out based on their productivity level. So like, if you've done less than $1 million, you'll be in a group. If you do 1 to 3 million, you'll be in a group. If you're over 3 to 7 million, you'll be in a group. If you're building a team and you have admins and buyer's agents and you're building something, you'll be in a separate group. And what we'll do on maybe a monthly or quarterly basis is we'll provide a mastermind opportunity where those people can collectively get together. We can share ideas. We can talk about what we're struggling with and how they're solving these problems in the same market. And so we mastermind together a lot. On top of that, we provide one-on-one coaching for every single one of our agents that wants it. We don't charge anything for that. And so again, some agents take advantage of that, some agents don't. But when it comes to being prioritized, you're going to feel as prioritized as you want to be here, depending on how often you want to show up and what you want to get involved in. Does Keller Williams charge high fees or take too much commission? This is kind of a loaded question. So as far as high fees, I mean, candidly, every single Keller Williams office is independently owned and operated. Some people don't know that, but what we do here is totally different than what the office does down in Orlando or what one does in LA or Vegas. I can only tell you what we do, and hopefully this helps. But as far as our high fees, I actually think our fees are very comparable, are very competitive. Like our office fee here is only $125 a month. And there's nothing additional on top of that. It's $125, and that includes your MLS fee, and that includes your showing time, that includes your errors and omissions insurance, that includes your tech fee, which provides a CRM platform, that provides a custom-built website, that provides a KW app. That all these things integrate. And so for $125, I think that's a really good value, and I wouldn't consider that high. To each their own, but I wouldn't consider that high at all. As far as commissions, we are on a capping model here. Again, every brokerage is different in the KW world, but candidly here in Little Rock, we cap at $14,000. So what that means is that when you pay in $14,000, you're what we call capped, and then you roll into 100% commission for the rest of the calendar year. So the question I would ask, if you're shopping splits and fees and caps and stuff like that, just like take stock of how much you pay your brokerage currently and look at it that way. But if I'm being totally honest, and not trying to get down a rabbit hole here, but if I'm being totally honest, I think people are asking the wrong questions. I talk to agents all the time, and they sit down in front of me, and the very first question they have is, what's your split? And they've been at 6 different brokerages over the last 5 years. And their pain point is they can't get above a certain number, like they're stuck at 5 million, or they're stuck at 7 million, or they just don't know what to do. But yet you're sitting down in front of me asking, what's the split? Like, you're asking the wrong question. Like, the question really shouldn't be, what's my split? The question should be, how do you support me better? The question should be, what solutions do you have to this problem? The question should be, how do I get past this barrier? Because I haven't been able to solve this problem, right? Like, that's the true question, is what does the support look like? Not what does the split look like? But again, very comparable to the two. So this has been Glenn Cunningham, team leader here at Keller Williams in Little Rock. Guys, if you have more questions, hit me up. If you'd like to grab a coffee, I'm happy to answer any questions one-on-one. I'm always here. Thanks.